It's a show I've wanted to do since we started doing the shows. And I got a phone call in November from Elliott, who I'd never met.
Right.
And he said, look, we're thinking about doing this. And I said, all right. I was a little, because I didn't know him and I didn't know what, usually I do the whole thing myself. And then he got me in touch with Toby and we just started talking and I said, let's just do it. Let's go for it. And here we are. It's amazing. Absolutely unbelievable. That happened to land on the actual day is pretty amazing. It's odd. It's just such an odd feeling because it's exhilarating, it's sad, it's nerve-wracking, so because I'm hosting and trying to do everything else, it's a little bit much, but yet exciting. I mean, this was one of his all-time favorite places to be, and I spent a lot of time here growing up and have such fond memories of being here with him and being able to sing in this country and tour with him and do all that. It's very bittersweet. As it all is, doing these things, but happy. We celebrate what he did and what he stood for and the excellence that, he always gave. And the band that we have tonight is, crazy good. And we brought our rhythm section from the States, because the band is going out on tour with Gregg. Very exciting, and we just did our first concert a few weeks ago, and it was unbelievable.
We are here for Buddy. I know it, maybe someone thinks of it as, but first of all, Buddy
That's why we're all here.
That's why we're all here. I know people that, well, yeah, you're doing the Buddy show. You're doing the Buddy show, and it's for Buddy because of Buddy, and especially when you try to pound through those songs. Oh God, that's when you really
realize.
You really realize. Just what that man does today. You put the CD or now you see him on YouTube. Yep. Before you had to wait until he showed up on, this is UK, but in the States you'd have to watch him on the Johnny Carson show. What was the show he was on here?
Mark and Parkinson.
So you only get to see him, now YouTube you can watch Buddy and it's not like you're watching some nostalgic, like the guy riding the bicycle with the big wheel. That's a good rep. You know what I mean? Like, you want something. We love Gene Krupa. God love him.
But we were talking the other day that how many people, any, celebrity, musician, actor, whatever, 25 years after they're gone, still is the benchmark. I don't know of anybody. Someone was saying that to me yesterday, that there's not really anyone you can think of that was so much at the top of what they did. That everyone else. There's great drummers in the world.
Tonight alone, tonight or
you're still. The level that, and you don't realize it until I go back and watch things that he's done, and you just. I still shake my head, and I stood in the wings every night of my life and watched him play.
She knew him really good.
I know him a little, so to be able to do this that it's 25 years is beyond me. Anyway, I can't believe it, but that it's. Even more so, it seems now, because I still get emails from kids that are 8 years old. Buddy's my favorite. That's the key to this whole thing. That's what he wanted. He wanted to always, for me, my job was, and hopefully I've done it and continue to do it, is that the music stays alive. The band keeps going. And that you do something so that young people don't forget who he was and what he did. And you learn by his history. And that just keeps it perpetually moving. And that's the job for me, is that, people growing up now will always know that there was a man named Buddy Rich who was the best at what he did ever. That's really it. I liken him to Mozart, because Mozart was given a gift at 3 years old. He started composing. Where does that come from? You can't learn that at that age. You can't start playing piano at that age and composing, opera. And Buddy had the same history. He was 18 months old when he started to play. There's no way you can, imagine that. Starring on Broadway at the age of 3. Okay, traveling the world at the age of 6. In the 1920s, when, what was it like in the 1920s? You got on a steamer and you went to Australia and it took 6 months to get there. It's crazy. So, you just kind of go back to the history of it, and, here's this little kid in Brooklyn that happens to have this ability. And here we are, 25 years after he's gone, still talking about him.
Our concept was never, our concept was never to, we'll get the guy that can do every underneath the hi-hat trick, everyone. You know, that's not what it was. I mean, because that's, you know, or not what it was. That's not what it is.
Right, because that would just
but any of these
simplify it.
shows, any of these things you watch, it's what a man, you know, the man brings to it. When you hear Blackwell play Nutville, it's going to be different than if Weckl played Nutville or Steve Smith played Nutville. You know, each man, and same deal with us taking the Buddy Rich Big Band out. What he wanted was his music put out to younger people. Because you and I both know, you say big band, what year is it? 20...
It's
you know,
2012.
2012. It's not even your grandparents' music. It's your great grandparents' music. So if you were to say big band, you're not gonna sell a seat to. I mean, God bless them. We all love the World War II generation or whatever it is. But you know, I mean, we're not going to be able to do that. Whereas when you see Buddy, he was playing Beatles charts when the Beatles were still the Beatles. You know, I mean, he was doing Norwegian Wood when the Beatles were still together. You know what I mean? So the man was. Although it was big band and he had 15 guys, he was hip.
And that's the thing that people don't know about him is that, you know, they saw a persona, which all that was a persona, you know, on television, on, you know, wherever, on stage, you know, he would come off, you know, as this brash, confident, which is what he was, partially. But then the other side of him was completely different. You know, was this lovely, you know, charming, sensitive, you know, you couldn't play the way he played without being that.
Right.
You know, the heart that he had. And that's really the thing that we try to, you know, get across is that his heart was what allowed him to play the way he played. You know,
right. And he wanted everybody to have that same drive. And
just have that same passion about it as he did. You know, because whether he was playing this or a high school in some city in the snow, right? It was the same show. He never dropped one lick just because he was playing someplace that wasn't the Palladium. You know, it didn't matter. It was like people came, they paid their money, they're going to get what they came for, no matter what.